guess pretty much the only thing that I have to preface this is just thanks to everyone who helped me make it. And I'm submitting it to Fargo tomorrow, and it'll be shown at various Dollar Baby festivals around the world in the coming year. My project was Everything's Eventual, which was based off a story by Stephen King. He has a program for student and amateur filmmakers, basically where you send him $1 and you get non-exclusive rights to make a short story adaptation. So pretty much I can make it and send it to all kinds of festivals, but I can't make any money off of it. The decision behind the DSLR was Ben Efron pretty much used the Canon 7D, and we used his camera for our senior seminar project, the Lutefisk Western, and we loved the way it turned out, and I wanted the same level of quality. We loved the maneuverability of the Canon 7D, basically because we could get excellent angles we couldn't with a normal camera rig, but we could get closer and use the handheld abilities of it to create unique angles that, well, I guess make the film unique.
I didn't know there was yeah, it does look nice.
That's true. Flooded up with some. And Shannon's clothes are like way too much for anything.
It was really clear that things had gone to a more experimental level, and still we knew we wanted to go kind of a. I mean, obviously the visuals were going to carry the film a lot more than we thought. And then when we got our location, which was, you know, the big warehouse space, and it had all the garbage and everything in it, we just knew that that's what we had to roll with, and that's what it had to be at that point. I mean, whether or not we wanted it to be a purely visual film, it was, you couldn't turn down a location like that to make something visual. I prefer not to limit myself during production by doing something very kind of over the top. Like, I wouldn't have used any colored lighting or anything like that during production, because if I change my mind later, there's really nothing you can do to change that. Whereas doing that in post, you get the option to play around with it a little bit more. Pretty proud of the fake alleyway stuff. The stuff where Neff is walking by and we have the two lights going and walking in and out of the flood. I thought that looked really nice. And then there were a couple of handheld shots that we did in that same lighting setup. Just that lighting setup in general I was pretty proud of. Just the way they came in and out of shadows. Ultimately, I would love to shoot on film. In terms of colors and workability, I think film is probably the most fun I've had with. Is it accessible? No. I mean, it's not something I can shoot with now, which is kind of the purpose of the DSLR shooting. I mean, it's cheaper. Well, at first anyway. I really like the DSLR shooting in terms of the flexibility, and I mean, everything I buy for it I can eventually transfer on to a more pro-end camera. I mean, you got your monitors, your sound equipment, all that stuff. All that, I mean, attaches well and increases the abilities of your DSLR, but you know, when I decide to move beyond it, I'll have all this stuff still, and it's still going to work. It's not just attached to the camera, so that's what I like about it.